inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion, even though I offer all of the solutions. I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you I knew this. When I'm with you I feel so useless, I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt, never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm, I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me? And 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 will you get bored of killing me? But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt, never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm, I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion, even though I offer all of the solutions. I wish you you love me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you, I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you, I knew this. When I'm with you, I feel so useless. I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you, I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palm. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares. See me right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me? Then will you get bored of killing me? And will you get bored of killing me? And will you get bored of killing me? And will you get bored of killing me?
I am given pause to wonder. Is it possible you are correct, mutant? I have been battling your kind for thousands of years. I am to have triumphed long ago.
What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy 8-Bit. We are back at y'all with a brand new video. Let me hide this joint. Oh, I can't hide it? That sucks. Okay. So let me see. Y'all see the title? Y'all see the thumbnail? You see your girl White Fox back there? Okay. Something got screwed up and the Bluetooth got added in. On the USB channel, which is wild, but that still cuts it for y'all. Okay, so let's go ahead and slide on over and we will check out the sneak peek, shall we? Let me get rid of the game right quick. And then we'll crank this thing up. Make sure I'm not blowing anybody's eardrums out. Yeah. Let's loop it. So we got the new look for White Fox. She does still have the glowing tails, looks like, in some of the screenshots they got going on. Yeah, because I don't think any of that's current stuff. So we'll go ahead and turn this down right quick while we let this loop. And we will bring the game back up as well. I know it does cut off a little bit of the fox here. And actually a lot of it's being cut off. Honestly, me see what my other one. Oh, okay. So I can do this. Here, we'll just do this. And there you have it. So y'all can see a lot more what the uni looks like now. But yeah, let me get rid of the picture in a picture once again. So yeah, the black on blue with the white accents. It's pretty nice. I do kind of wish the scarf maybe is a little bit brighter just to offset it a little bit, but it does seem to be kind of a one-off look for her. It is new. I don't think it's as refined of a look as the seasonal uniform, but if it functions as good or better, that's going to be a win for the free-to-plays. That's going to be a win for the community overall. That if you didn't have this uniform, the seasonal already, you're going to be able to get your hands on something decent. Same thing with Black Fox, Black Cat. Black Fox, yeah. Same thing with Black Cat coming around the corner in a couple of days. They should be the seasonals or the mid-month. Let's go ahead and slide on over here onto X. And this we will get the yeah, we'll get it up on here like this. So Grace hides something far more dangerous. White Fox return. Pretty simple stuff, right? Just a simple one-liner. You got my guy Commander chiming in down here. I almost thought this was Black Cat at first. Wonder who's next in the teaser, right? LOL. Because of the data mine and all of that stuff. I'm not sure where this artwork comes from. So maybe this was like a one-off sort of comic run sort of thing. I'm not entirely sure. So kind of interesting. Yeah, and then you got my girl Black Cat sitting over here on the wall in the Spider-Man joint. Yeah, and interestingly enough, it is not Marvel Rivals White Fox from Noob Dar here. So, and he is absolutely correct. That is not the White Fox from Marvel Rivals. I haven't really played the game like that, but I did go check, and the look is nothing alike. So, and I don't think Black Cat is a part of that game, but I think there has been some sort of speculation or ask for her to come to the game. I could be wrong. Because I know they didn't start out with like a huge character list, but they've been expanding like crazy with their updates. So there is that. Here over on the Marvel Future Fight forum page, we got when the blue glint of eyes flashes through the darkness, enemies won't even realize what struck them. A great secret agent who has inherited legendary power is joining the battle. Descendants of the Kamiho, talking about the Kamiho stance, which refers to, at least in game, her, I believe it's the 4-star passive or the tier 2 passive. It's one of the two, whichever one is that ridiculous buff of 65, I believe it is, percent. Damage to supervillains, and then she gets chain hit and a bunch of other stuff that just makes her one of the best supports in the game, and it's not even close. You do have to have the leadership tag in order to access this thing. If you have her and you're familiar, then you know. But yeah, the Kumiho stance, her tier 2 passive increases basic damage to supervillains by 65% and then decreases damage by 30%. That whopping 65% is the largest single damage increase for typing, faction type sort of typing in the game so far, right? So that is just absolutely huge. You couple that with the fact that she also gets this that applies to superhero allies, increase all attack by 15%, increase chain hit by 10%, and then ignore dodge by 30%. White Fox gets to be pretty damn potent. Now there is nothing as far as buffs on the leadership or on the 4-star passive that you can take advantage of. You do have the lead with the all attack or the lead with the increase all debuff effect by 40%, which is okay for like ABX, ABL type content and farming type content where you can like increase your debuff effect on the enemy to increase your damage that, or sort of increase your damage that way. Not as good as all attack, but situationally it can be kind of useful. It's not like, 40% movement speed, right? So that's kind of the thing we get into. Then if you get down here to the bottom, it says check out the new abilities and look of the Kumiho agent, who suffocates the enemy with mysterious spiritual powers and agile combat skills. So I do believe she still has the agility tag, and we'll check beforehand. She is speed typed, so maybe a resurgence in the speed typing because they do need a lot of love. She does still have the agility tag. Maybe she could become some sort of DPS in her own right, similar to Cyclops, where you can get some stuff done with her. That would be dope. As well. But you know how they like to do. Typically, they'll keep the support folks in the support folks' place, and let everybody else do the heavy lifting sort of situation. So we're gonna stick around here for a little bit, see if the other sneak peek pops up. We may also get into this a little bit later on. I've recently brought this up on several other channels, just chopping it up with other YouTubers and whatnot. So yeah. And I had been said something about that, but you know. I try to tell people, because the thing is, I have a tendency to remember things really, really specifically and somewhat accurately, especially if it's some shit that I really fuck with, right? Like Future Fight. And in the division director Terry Lee discussion, the interview that he gave for the 10-year anniversary, one, I thought it was an amazing article. It was a lot of meat in there, right? That I don't think was necessarily appreciated at the time. But then there's also been some pivots to what was kind of the focus, in a sense. So, you know, we'll piece this apart and we'll kind of see, like, well, what promises were made, what ideas were pitched, what you know, directions were alluded to. What did we get? What did we miss? What did we didn't get? What did they shift on as far as direction is concerned over the last year? And then we'll finish this off. It may actually take a couple of live streams to do this, but we'll finish it off talking about the this right here. The Marvel Future Fight kicks off its 11-year pre-registration, which is kind of the piggyback to the 10-year director letter, because we haven't really gotten anything like that since. The other thing that I found interesting too is if you go up here to videos, because this is Netmarble's netmarble.com's home page, I guess, for their games and forum and whatnot, like their main hub where they post a lot of shit, including games, content, whatnot. And while we've come here for years to see that, oh, they're really not talking about MFF like that, like they used to, which is definitely the case, right? They're way more interested in the anime stuff these days. Seven Deadly Sins, Grand Cross, you know, and all of these other games, right? And Future Fight, for several reasons, Engine being one of them. I mean, it's a 2015 platform. It's an 11-year-old platform for a game, with 11-year-old coding, which is going to make a difference from the backbone of this thing. You know, solo leveling, you know, all of these games, right? You have not seen one single Mongil, right? You have not seen one single thing, not one AFK Arena even, or not AFK Arena, but King of Fighters, right? You've not seen one single thing on Future Fight, which is kind of scary a little bit. Let me move this for this, because it's kind of covering that up. But yeah, as we scroll through, you know, not one thing. Now, mind you, we're all the way back in November of 2024 right here. These are the release dates. You know, all of the different cons and expos and whatnot. And a lot of this is, you know, going on over in Korea. But yeah, I just thought I'd, you know, kind of point that out to you guys. You know, while I scroll down, I'm really just looking to see like, well, when is the first time that you guys have spoken or brought up something that is not like, because the idea is this, right? Some of that stuff, like this, you know, this isn't very hard to find. Neither is this if you know what you're looking for, right? But that kind of says something as well. You know, I shouldn't have to know what I'm looking for exactly or specifically to be able to go find info on a game from the company that makes it, right? Oh, wow. This is some Future Fight stuff. This is definitely some Future Fight stuff. And this was 11/4/2021. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. It was Marvel Future Revolution. There we go, right there at the bottom. Marvel Future Revolution. Right? So, yeah, I mean, you know, a game that they've already sunset appears before Future Fight does here. Which I just think is so interesting and so you know, meanwhile you have players that still log in, play every day over here, Wales, a thriving community, you know, all of that, right? So yeah, it would be nice. Yeah, like no more results. So that is kind of scary. I'm gonna quickly go back up, but most of this stuff has nothing to do with Marvel. Now, I will say this. Disney has definitely not helped with this situation because, just to paraphrase, and this is my own personal opinion, but the way that Netmarble used to operate with the whole Marvel IP when it is concerned with Future Fight is that it was heavily invested into the Marvel IP. Well, what's been going on with that for the last, you know, few years, 5, 6 years or so? Pretty much since the end of Endgame, right? What's been going on with the Marvel IP? Seriously, right? Let's get the game back up here. We'll slide it back over to the left. But yeah, just so you can see the names over there on the right of the actual game, like Solo Leveling Raj right here, Seven Deadly Sins right there. Some more solo leveling. Couple of G stars. Some more solo leveling. Nothing about, you know, anything Marvel, right? let alone Future Fight. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it a while back they sunset King of Fighters? Because I don't see anybody making content for that game anymore. So kind of scary. Spooky Night Event 2025. I could be wrong about the sunsetting of King of Fighters, but I could have swore I saw something about that not that long ago. Like within the last year to 18 months-ish type of time frame. Not that long ago, but then I say a year. But a year really isn't that long. Hell, 18 months really isn't that long. But yeah, nothing even Marvel that for this year. At least under the games tab, which is basically what this company does. You know what I mean? So, you know, I like to surf around here to see like, well, what are they promoting? What are they pushing? Okay, so they have, okay, so King of Fighters is still doing the thing in the latest update. Okay, so my apologies about the King of Fighters thing. I do know they sunsetted Marvel Future Revolution. Because when that game came out, a lot of people thought it was going to be a competitor to Marvel Future Fight, and it did good for a little while, but you know, Future Fight is where it is. It was way more established. There were certain things about Marvel Revolution that was okay, such as, you know, the more open world feel and online gameplay and being on a newer engine. You know, the last thing that they dropped as far as in the newsroom was back in April with the anniversary, right? Nothing else since. Nothing about any updates, none of that. Now they do update the Netmarble forum and all of that. But then, you know, their main page is kind of where it makes a splash. And then when you go and you look at the videos tab here, you see more of the same. Nothing Marvel. You have to go all the way back to last year, January. Right? That's over a year. That's like 18 months ago. Coming up on. So not good. And I think Netmarble has, you know, taken a step back and taken it back to one, focus on their own IPs more, than to focus on licensed IPs, or maybe to focus on a different branching of the licensing, of the licensed IPs that they have, if that makes sense. Like, oh, here we go with the shits. Sizing is all fucked up again. Yeah, cut off the time and everything. So yeah, that's kind of where I am with the whole thing. I try to pay attention to the stuff that people are gonna miss for the most part. So yeah, something that I thought was like real interesting. You know what I mean? Excuse me. And it could be a case, and I hope this isn't the case. See, I don't know how long the license is for, or how long they signed it for originally, or how all of that stuff works. But yeah, I agree. I checked the same thing a while ago, wondering why they don't report anything on Marvel Future Fight. Man, look, um, YouTube Realm Visitor. This is the thing. When it comes down to that stuff, a lot of that was. Here's the best example I can give you. Like the very best example. Where the hell is it? Oh wow. Where the hell is Legendary Battle? Am I tripping? Hold up. Where the hell is Legendary Battle? Cause I sure was finna jump right into that tab. There, bruh. But yeah, Legendary Battle is the best example of that. It is the very best example of that. When they built this game, when did the Iron Man movies drop? Like 2000 what? 2009, something like that. The movie that everybody says falsely that started the MCU, right? Iron Man 1. This is no, hate on Tony Stark or nothing like that. It's a great franchise. It was a great movie, and it did a lot for Marvel. I give credit where credit is due, but by that same token, I give credit where credit is due. With Wesley Snipes and Blade. Anywho, in that franchise, what's going on, Bubba? Welcome back. Yeah, Iron Man dropped in 2008. The game dropped in 2015. At the height of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? This is why we got all of these, the epic quests and, especially the legendary battle. Here it is. Especially the legendary battle, right? I mean, each and every one of these things is based off an MCU movie. What other game has that? What other Marvel game? Fuck mobile. Marvel game. You can go to AAA platforms. You can go to wherever. You can go to discontinued games. Games that ain't even making no more. Don't worry, I'll wait. This game was purpose built as a Marvel Cinematic Universe angle, right? Why do you think the Avengers got so many uniforms? Spider-Man, like, yeah, they're popular, yeah. But at the same time, that's who they were doing the most content for outside of the game, right? It's no different than this Starscream I got sitting on my desk and sitting back and watching the 1985 Transformers movie. Right? One sells the other. It's just in this case, instead of a toy, it's a video game. Right? Now we're all clamoring for X-Men 97 season 2, right? Everybody's in a tizzy. Lord knows I got some stuff coming down the pipe for that too. But everybody's crunk about the X-Men 97 season 2 and can't wait for it. Yours truly included. But and I really hate to say this because I don't want to seem like, I don't want y'all to misunderstand me and think, oh, I'm a quantity over quality type of guy, because I'm not. I would much rather them take their time and give us a good product. But the point that I'm illustrating is they were pumping out so much shit at such a high volume, right? And foundationally, they were doing okay, and then they started getting all off kilter with several movies. Some of which that people, came out of the theaters and was like, oh, that movie was great. Personally, I thought was trash sort of situations. And not recent stuff. I'm talking pre-in-game stuff. Right? Oh, this movie was great. That movie was great. Oh, this movie was trash. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, it was actually pretty good. So, no, that whole thing. Like, some folks got their wires crossed. I'm still mad Hulk didn't get his licks back on Thanos. That is gonna bug me for the rest of my days. and let this man dog walk Incredible Hulk like that. That's crazy. Matter of fact, no, scratch that. You dog walk Incredible Hulk and Thor at the same damn time. Just like, really? Whereas in the comics, until he was able to assemble the gauntlet, he had to be more clever than that. Not saying he wasn't a beast, he was. But Hulk was him. It's just that simple. True, you hear what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, they when the MCU fell off, the game had to pivot, right? I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. You gotta think about it. We were getting, when's the last legendary battle we got? We used to get them things left and right. Right? And then they'll, oh, we grandfathering out this system into that system. No, you kind of gave us Exo Swords. You kind of gave us, all this other bells and whistles, really? To keep us distracted from what you're not doing? I mean, you gotta think about it. There's reports out there, right, from sources that while I cannot claim as verified fact, I will present as rumor, so I ask you to please take it with a grain of salt. If you know, you know. But all of the rumors about them, doing the movies and not having a fucking script, but you don't think that's gonna affect like game development in any particular way? If you're telling me, well, yeah, I don't want you to use this character or that character or that character or that character because I got something big planned for him in a movie that's coming up. But you could give me a list of like 50, 100 characters, let's say. Let's throw a wild number out there, right? At what point? Yeah, we got 200 and some characters in the game, but at what point are my hands tied where I won't be able to really, dig in like I want to dig in, right? As a developer, as a creative that's trying to bring life to a community via gaming. Sort of situation, you know what I mean? I'm trying to create this sandbox for everybody to play in. It becomes a bit difficult. So I think that's what a lot of folks get lost in the sauce when they just boil shit down to like, oh, the numbers and the characters and and the values, and is it meta, and is it not, and is it, you know. And yeah, that matters, and we need those folks to make that sort of content. But then we also need to have conversations like this too. If we're seriously looking at like the state of the game. I mean, they can blow out or smoke up our ass all they want to with, you know, all of these letters and whatnot. And either follow through or do something completely different, right? And they have done that before. They haven't done it as much this previous year, though. It's like, what did they say at one point? It takes them like 6 months worth of planning in advance to be able to come up with any particular update or whatever, right? Well, one, I would hope not. I would hope they would have their process a little more streamlined by now. But, okay. At TBA World Boss. Oh, somebody opened a rift. And let's pick up our 10 runs at least. And we'll go open our rift. Can't go wrong with that. Cannot go wrong with that. So back to this conversation with my man Terry right here. You know, a bunch of these I feel like are fluff questions, like kind of softball shit. Please tell me how you feel about the game reaching its 10-year anniversary. Like, honestly, yeah, that's cool, and it would make sense for, you know, I don't know if he was there from the beginning. If he was, then kudos, yeah, right. And I don't mean no disrespect, but as the community goes, it's like, yeah, but what have you done for me lately? Ooh, 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 ooh. And what else you gonna do? Type shit, right? So, I'm curious. What major regions play the game? Which countries? Which players? Now, this I kind of was curious about. But in over 170 countries around the world, with the United States and South Korea being the top two in terms of player count. then Asia, North America, South America, and of course Central America with the United States being in there. And then Europe are heavily active. I also see a lot of players from like India, Bangladesh, these sort of places, right? Some of you guys actually subscribe to the channel, and I do appreciate that. Let's see, what do you think is key to Marvel Future Fight's longevity? What will be the driving force behind the 10 years of service? I believe it's most important. Key to Marvel Future Fight's longevity is our ability to minimize the gap between what fans emotionally expect from Marvel Universe and how that's reflected in the game. I don't think that's really the issue. I think the issue is bridging the gap as best you can between a couple of factors. One of those, the first set of parameters would be between the new players and the veterans. You got to bridge that gap, right? Not saying that, you know, new players should immediately come in and be where a veteran is. I'm not saying that. They should still have to grind, right? And they have done a lot in more recent months specifically. And over the last year or so, to alleviate that. And we've spoken on that on this channel many a times with, you know, the 11-year or the 10-year anniversary with the 10,000 crystals being like the year of rewards. I think latter in the year and so far this year, it's kind of been the year of balancing. As much as folks really don't want to admit that. I think it has been more healthy balancing. Maybe not across the upper echelons of PvP, like they need to do something about the tier 3 native situation. But, you know, outside of those handful of characters, which you're really only talking 3 or 4 characters, right? You know, all of the non-native and native tier 2s, it's kind of a healthy sort of environment between those guys. So we'll bring this down right there, and then we'll shrink it just a little bit. So, yeah. Now let's scroll on down. So what strategies have you implemented? So what strategies have you implemented to maintain the game's popularity? Let's see, there's just to start in, chime in, I'm gonna chime in on the last part first. There are still many heroes and uniforms that our players want to see, and we plan to continue delivering regularly themed. Yeah. So they're just saying they're gonna keep dropping uniforms and talking about hero count. At the time, it was 270 playable heroes with over 500 uniforms. So that's just a sale, right? But not really meat on that bone. And I do believe it was a little later on, yeah, it's talking about 274 heroes with the Thunderbolts update and 528 uniforms. It's like, that's fine. With the Summer Lilac being the most popular to date. Okay, another sale. Like, you know, exclusive characters. Like, yeah, those are all great things. But then if you come down here to this question, this very poignant question, and we'll go through some of the other ones, but this one is kind of important. The question was asked, could you mind sharing a long-term update roadmap, which we still have not gotten, by the way. And the way this question was phrased is like, hey, bro, can you give us a roadmap for where the, you know, game is going to be more regularly? Because, you know, he's asking for a long-term sort of situation. So what are your plans over the next year, the next 2 years, the next 3 years sort of situation? Nope. Are there any hints? Are there any hints you can give about upcoming character uniforms, characters or uniforms? Also, are there plans to introduce higher tier growth content such as tier 5? This is before the elite gear system. So a lot of people will say, well, yeah, they kind of gave us the elite gear instead of the tier, instead of the tier 5 stuff, kind of a tier 2.5 situation. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think this is wholly separate from the tier system. I do like the fact that early on in the leveling, it does give us a place to use otherwise items that we would just be selling for gold or be straight up duds. So I think that particular portion of it is cool. That's what's taking a bomb room. ISOs. I mean, them Urus. And what they need to do also is, with the advent of so much extra shit to keep track of in terms of materials, they need to figure out a way to, I'm not saying with every item, but with some items that serve similar functions or purpose, they need to figure out a way to condense that shit. And we still picked up the package. Nice. to open a mythic rift. There we go. And I can come chop it up with y'all some more. About this whole joint. So, yeah, are there any plans to introduce higher tier growth content such as tier 5? Now, this is the part that I keep hanging on with people, right? And for this, I do have to get rid of the game or slide it down or something, so I do apologize. But we'll slide it down. Y'all don't need to see all the buttons or nothing, but y'all do need to see at least a paragraph, so I don't gotta go sentence by sentence. But he goes on to say that while we recognize that the game can appear complex and challenging for new players, so we are currently reviewing several improvements to enhance abilities for future content. I think a lot of that was the agent training center and the guided quests and all this sort of stuff, right? Now, you go down to the second paragraph. Regarding higher tier growth content, right? Starting right here. Like tier 5, it's been about 3 years since tier 4 was introduced. Many heroes are still at tier 3 or even tier 2. Because of this, we don't currently have any immediate plans to add tier 5 or similar higher tier growth content. Now, what I think they did was they came up with the whole thing of the awakened system just to kind of appease people. Here you go, build your characters, shut the hell up, because we're not ready for tier 5 yet, right? Tier 4, they were still kind of on the heels of the MCU a little bit, but one, a lot of those projects hadn't got canceled yet, so that's one. You know, and it's nowhere near the same amount of fanfare that we used to get. You know what I mean? So the part that I get hung up on this with people about is the whole tier 5 thing, right? Oh, well, tier 5 is coming. Tier 5 is coming. Personally, I think if it does come, it'll be around the Avengers update, like I've been saying. But I would not be surprised if we don't get it then. Because just as I was discussing with somebody earlier, what was it, yesterday or the day before in their channel, and I had to tell dude, I'm like, did you come and read this? He said last year we wasn't ready because you got all these characters that are stuck at tier 3, even some at tier 2, right? Yeah, we understand you want your new growth levels, but we gotta clean this up. This is why they've been dropping characters like crazy as far as tier 3 awakened potential and just saying screw it, because there are a few characters that they've just given potential transcendence skill too, and they kind of don't fit that bill. They fit more of the bill of a tier 3. Right? There's been a bunch of them. I mean, look at the Epic Quest characters, right? Why is Beta Ray Bill like one of the only ones, not across the Epic Quest in general, but for 3 of the main characters in the Epic Quest? The one they give you for free, the 6,600 crystal character, right? So that's the one they give you for free, the one you got to pay for, in the big bag. Typically, all 3 of them are tier 3. There are some exceptions to that, like Invisible Woman, and Beta Ray Bill, right? I don't know. Were they trying to rush the end too? Because you got to think about it. We went on a couple of year pace where they were just dropping characters at a blistering pace also. So that created the need to, these characters have to come to the game at tier 3, and they weren't. That means automatic, we got to revisit them in a new update. So that's them kind of shooting themselves in the foot on that behalf, because we honestly, if they'd have done that, we'd probably be at a position where we could do tier 4, or at the very least we'd be a hell of a lot closer. But I think my boy had checked, because he has, I think, all of the characters at tier 4 that can be or whatever. It was like, yeah, it's like 160 something characters in the game that still haven't gotten a tier 4. And of those, I think he had like 15 or 20 still that were stuck at tier 2. I might be exaggerating on that, stuck at tier 2. It might have been more like 5 or 10, let's say. But still, 160 stuck at tier 3. He clearly states here. First thing he says is characters that are still at tier 3. Because when they introduced tier 4, they already had this issue. So as much as people are clamoring for tier 4, right? That kind of is the reason why. It's like they shot themselves in the foot with it, and now they're having to fix it, play catch up, in order to right and balance the ship, right? And it makes perfect sense, and it's the best move. It's the move I've been praying that this game would do for the longest. You've heard us talk about it over here, Operation Health. This game desperately needs something like that. Just a period of, we don't do any sort of updates as far as characters for a while, right? That does several things. That allows players to catch up. That means that there's really no new content added. Now, you don't have to add any new content, right? But go through fix all of the bugs. Any content that you plan on revamping, do that. So we're doing Shadowland changes coming up. If you got timeline battle changes coming subsequent to that, or other world battle, or what have, work all that stuff in. Or we're gonna make other world battle manual gameplay. You work all of that stuff in. You bake it in, right? And if we went 4 or 5 months without a new character, now they would have to communicate that and be like, look, this is why we're doing it. Rainbow Six is about as old as Marvel Future Fight. Probably older. Right? And this game was able to pull it off quite successfully. There's no reason why Marvel Future Fight can't do the same. Oh, you got people. I mean, now you're talking about a platform game versus a mobile game. Yeah. Then you're going to have some challenges as far as that's concerned. But that's kind of an understood. It's only so much if somebody has a device that you can't, you know, I'm not talking about those sort of situations. So, yeah. Hell am I in here for? Okay. knock out this AB. So yeah, I think my guy Terry over there is being true to his word in what he says about, you know, that was the one point that I used to make to everybody. It's like, bro, you're creating. I said this when they came out. I was one of the few people actually saying this shit. When they came out with CTPs, when they came out with cards, when they came out with all of this whale level shit, right? Every time you introduce a new element into a game that is not attainable or more difficult to attain unless you spend loot, like real money loot, it takes something away from the game experience, honestly. Okay. That's over with. We got Mephisto and who else? Let me run through this right quick. Hmm? Did I switch? I did switch. Damn it. Okay, you too. 13 mil, not bad, not bad. Yeah, I didn't want to do much. I just wanted to get on, talk about that. Your boy does have to get up to go back into the job in the morning. Like I said, they working me like I'm part Hebrew. Um, mhm. Yeah, so we're gonna let this ride out to some other world battle. And then, yeah, interestingly enough, do you think there are any collaborations with other Marvel games? There are no concrete discussions underway at the moment, but if there is a chance, we are open to exploring various types of collaborations. And then we get, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which of course wasn't around then, Marvel Rivals, which wasn't around then. But you kind of figure, you gotta kind of know, right, that this is a thing and it's coming. And based on the strength of that, you got, you know, you're in the community, so you know. If we know, I know the developers do. You know what I mean? So, and then they go on to thank players for playing 10 years and all of that old different sort of stuff. But yeah, with the Tier 5, don't think it's coming anytime soon. But we'll have new uniforms for White Fox, Black Cat, that take them out of seasonal paywall hell. And they are also dropping before their season gets here, so people don't wind up wasting money on seasonals that are obsolete or surpassed or whatever the case may be. We'll have to wait and see what they look like, of course, but definitely need the possibility. Anything on Gene Storm? What would you change? my account or for your account? For Jean, for myself, I would probably roll something like a Brilly Judgment if I had one. And that's for now. If you want to bank on the fact that she might get something for X-Men 97 Season 2 that brings her back into the meta, you can open up her second custom gear slot. I would not be mad at that. Because see, Jean is a moneymaker. They're not going to let her sit out here with bad tags or none of that sort of stuff. They're going to take care of old... They ain't gonna let them be at her bad like that. You know what I mean? Yours, okay. Yeah, I slide over there here in just a second. Matter of fact, after this match. Because it is now 2 a.m. That's kind of what I was waiting for, because that's usually when the sneak peeks drop. Let's slide on over back to the game while I see if this thing is here. Of course, we do still have tomorrow night, but you would think it would drop tonight. They would chill Saturday, Sunday. Probably hit us with a promo video on Sunday. And then do that thing on Saturday. Do their thing on Saturday. And that's as far as the promo video. You know, chill on Saturday, promo on Sunday. Chill on Monday, get a late patch note, and then the update. Okay. What you count? The Bub 79? Storm and Jean. Okay, you got a Brilly Rage on your Jean that needs to No, it doesn't need to be re-rolled because that thing's sitting at 1.1%. 66. That is not a bad roll. That is not a bad roll by any stretch of the imagination. Let's see here. That's what I was looking for. Okay, you already got the second slot unlocked for Jean. Smart. Smart. Mighty Clash. Brilliant Competition. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Are you not digging the performance from the competition? Got level 20, level 166, so you can come up there. Let's see. Seems like the Brilliant Rage worked better on her. On Storm. Yeah. yeah, that's kind of the conclusion that I'm coming to as well. Because Brilliant Rage is something else, especially for ABX scores and whatnot. So I wouldn't mind seeing how she functions with a Brilliant comp. So yeah, Libby on Cyclops. Yeah, you got a few things. You got a few things. And the Brilly comp on Jean. Like I said, she's kind of TB D. If she gets a uniform, it may shake up a lot of what we wound up doing with her. For instance, I don't know if them Flame Odins, right? If she doesn't have a Phoenix Force, she may not necessarily have those Flame Odins. She may have, mind damage, which I don't think we have an Odin lesson for. Okay, we do. We do. They're just rare as hen's teeth. Okay, so there you have it. Do you still play this account? Oh, you had a brilliant on this guy, huh? Yeah, let's take one more look. See, I didn't look at cards and none of this stuff like I typically do, but I know yours are good, bub. I got yourself a porterhouse. You just need a few procs over there, but if you're hitting hard and you don't really need them, then I understand why. Like at this point, You got 2 fully maxed out card sets. You Gucci. Need a few more peers here and there. Oh, speaking of progress, your boy was able to craft his very first 6-star sword. So, yeah, actually dope. Those are the stats that is offering. 1.84 concentration, which is huge. It also offers damage to energy projection tag that is Sentry. Also, gives damage reduction against order type characters, which I can kind of change. So, yep, that's what we are rocking on that thing. Got 146 on the instinct. 207 on the flame. Increased basic damage to human characters. Sorry about that. By 2.5%. That's also on Sentry. So, overall, I look at my effects now. I'm doing 39%. Close enough is might as well say 40. Percent all attack, 12% physical attack, 15% energy attack, 7% energy and physical damage reduction, 9% pierce reduction, 2,000 instinct. So the 2,000 instinct is actually huge. I need more of that, please. And then when you go and you look at the total concentration that this thing is giving me, it's 7.43%. So pretty close to the max. I don't think that's bad, and I need more of this, please. And I do believe that was the one sword that I had at like 4-star, or whatever the case may be. let's let this thing ride. Now I was supposed to have been gone 20 minutes ago, but we gonna go and get up out of here. Look at Gambit. Yeah, I'm gonna check Gambit out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. No, I typically run a lot longer, but I am coffee free, getting sleepy, and do have to turn around and get right back up on a 6th day for 2 weeks. So I can get in there. You said Gambit. Yeah, I mean, all of your characters are built like this is how you should do it. You know what I mean? Yep. 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 Not mad at that. Yep. Like, I don't necessarily think that CTP is trash, right? Like, a lot of people are, oh, the CTP of authority is fodder now. Please, for the love of God, don't throw away your CTP of authority. One, that's something that they'll be likely to update. And then two, I was supposed to be looking at your Gambit. What the hell is your Gambit? Not fine. Gambit. Do you not have him or something? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about Gambit. Maybe you get a premium X Gene selector that you can use on them, and you can pick them up that way. I'm gonna go check out this Creator God right quick, and then I'm definitely yep. I could have swore I checked this account out. Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get it in there. Hold up. There you go. I could have swore I looked at this account already. Maybe not. Gotta work on your card quality. Yeah, I did. Cause I told you about your Black Panther 166 card, which I think you've crafted up, and then this one as well. Okay, you got the energy attack proc going. You don't need the movement speed. I do believe we talked about that as well. That's a wasted stat. The cooldown and your pierce is coming up short. Your cooldown is okay. Yeah, cards look good for the most part. They just need to be refined a little bit more. But that's to be expected. You do have to come in here and put some work in on your swords, though. I will say. Storm with the regular judgment, okay. So you're trying to spread the wealth a little bit, and I get that, and I can respect it. I would definitely pick up his newest latest. I think it's a Halloween uniform. Oh no, your cooldown is straight. Like the sweet spot for cooldown is like 32, 33%. 35 is not far off from that. If you're in a level 30 alliance, or hell, even a level 28 alliance, you're gonna get 14% cooldown from them as well. That's gonna make up the majority of the bulk of your cooldown for the character. Whatever the character has natively should make up for the rest. Right? So you'll go into a character and check out their gears, and you see all of those stats right there. The physical attack, ignore dodge, all attack, all of that comes from the gear itself. Every time you level up, you get it, and then sometimes you'll get cooldown in there. So actually, for a lot of characters, you'll get cooldown in there, so you'll mitigate a lot of from that. Or typically the uniform bonuses if you got enough uniforms going around. So but I feel you with the spread the wealth philosophy. You're trying to get as many characters with CTP as possible. I also like the discipline here that I'm seeing on, oh, I have the character level whatever. Take Spidey, for instance, right? Or let's take somebody more relevant. Let's take Loki, for instance, right? A non-native tier character that is capable of going in tier 4 with his latest uniform. You could easily make the justification that, oh, he's at level 80, so that's why I gave him this CTP, because I'm gonna tier 4 him. Then they drop somebody cool next week and you change your mind, and it takes you, a month or two to get back situation. So just giving you a establishment what if. Right. Let's see. Yeah, also asking of taking Gore next to tier 4. Let's see. Obviously for PvP, right, is why you want Gore. So let's take a look here. And see if you are truly ready for PvP. You're rocking 36% HP with no HP procs of any kind. You are not rocking 25% pierce, so that's going to hinder you, but only slightly. As that stat goes. In other words, if all of your other stats were in line, then the only thing you were missing was that 2% pierce, you would still be able to compete a little bit. But with the missing HP, the low defense, you got 4% defense. You got 15% and 25% physical and energy defense respectively. Right? So at any one time, your defense on physical is never going to be higher than 15%, which can be lowered by certain situations, right? So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like the attack is nice, the all attack, the physical attack, the energy attack, all of that, all the attack side is nice, right? Crit damage could be a little bit higher. crit rate is okay. It's serviceable. But if you're talking about building gore, then you better be ready to handle your business in PvP. What I'm seeing on here on this roster right now, not only would I not build gore, like if you want to take him up to level 80, fine, but leave him there. The reason why I say that, wait, pick up his uniform and it's 50% off. If you don't have it already. But the reason why I say that is not for the character to fall out of the meta and none of this different sort of shit. It's that he's gonna hog up so many of your resources. I mean, you don't have a V to pair with him. But yeah, Ghost Rider. Yeah, I mean, picking up his uni, taking him to tier 4 would not be a bad idea. Taking Loki to tier 4 would not be a bad idea. If you're looking for straight up DPS, if you're looking for support, that is kind of gonna be on a wholly separate level, and most of yours are gonna be like going to go find Trish uniform, snatch it up, and take her up. You don't even have Wasp built. She is a necessity for PvP game modes in a lot of cases. Because of her Winsome Wasp tier 2 passive that removes all debuff effects from friendlies. So very, very powerful skill. She's not the only one in the game that has it anymore, but she is still among one of the cheapest. So another diamond in the rough, Shuri, that you need to build. Go ahead and snatch up her Black Panther uniform so you can get her support going as well as a little bit of DPS. Like, you got options, my guy. You have plenty of options. That's the good thing. But I can also see how it would be problematic if what you really should be doing right now, honestly, is I would build Black Cat, because at any rate she's gonna be some sort of lead support. If not for villains, for heroes, or for all characters, so you know you really don't have to like steal by the other one sort of situation. If they're shitty, then you know they'll do it the other way around and make us have to have both. Hopefully that's not the case, right? But they still want these seasonals to hold value, so I know at some point they're gonna say something or just stop doing it altogether. Okay. But yeah, Ghost Rider, that'd be a nice pickup. And then all of the aforementioned pickups. And then of course, building, you know, according to where you are, your need in the game. Don't overreach, don't overspend sort of situation. But I would, if I were you, and I'm not sure if you have or not, I would start on the X-Men Epic Quest. I would start on the X-Men Epic Quest and I would go from there. Because a bunch of them are about to get updates. I'm not saying you have to go buy the 6,600 crystal pack. I'm just saying complete the Epic Quest because you'll still unlock characters. Same thing for Madeline Pryor's Epic Quest. You should also do that one as well because it's full of mutants. And it will at least allow you to unlock certain ones of them. Hope Summers, Havoc, all of these sort of characters. Wolverine, I think, yeah. Yeah, do I already have Sky at least to 72? Yeah, so I would focus more on the PvE side of stuff for now. I'm not saying you gotta leave PvP alone. But I would focus everything around Sentry. Pop him in there with double support. And he should do pretty decent. Another thing that you could do to help him out is you can either build Ebony Maw, get his newest, latest uniform, or you can build Should I build Colossus or Hella support? I would build both. You should build as many supports as you possibly can, honestly. So tier 4 Hella, or not tier 4 Hella, but at least tier 3, or Awaken Transcended. At the bare minimum, that is what it should be, my guy. But yeah, Jeff is just the newest, latest, but he doesn't replace a good old Wasp. He doesn't replace Phil Coulson. Make sure you snatch his uniform up come Christmas, by the way. Just all of this sort of stuff, right? If you haven't taken this uniform to Mythic, yeah, you should definitely do that, because if you go here to the there we go, yeah, legendary battle, the Thor legendary battle, for free. Matter of fact, I should have just done this. There is a premium card down here for owning this Thor Ragnarok uni and having it at heroic. And then for Valkyrie you get what is this, ISO chest or some shit. Let's see what's in this. Okay, yeah, that's not really sauce. But the last one, you get the CTP, the egg CTP. I thought you got something for owning Hella's uniform. Yeah, it was Thor, Black Panther. Huh. Okay, so I'm wrong. It's the other two uniforms that you need. Wait a minute. Hold up, hold up, hold up. That's what it is. I know I wasn't tripping. Yeah, so for owning that Hella uniform, you get a CTP of energy. So you want to definitely avail yourself of that. And then for owning this Loki uniform, you get another premium card that you can throw at other characters. So come in here and get some of these freebies. 2 premium cards, 2 CTPs. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. That's 1. Nada. 1. 2, 2. Yeah. So, you know, make sure you avail yourself of those rewards. I do believe all of those uniforms should be 500,000 gold. If you have a better uniform for any of those characters, of course you want to make sure it's equipped. Just take the uniforms to Mythic, take the characters in, play the stage. You may have to play it in that requisite uniform, I'm not sure, or it's probably going to put you in it regardless. But go in, play the stage, and then it'll unlock the reward for you. So you do have to heroic the uniform, then play the stage, right? And then for a bunch of the paid for epic legendary battles, like when you spend the 2,500 crystals, they move a lot of those rewards over to the premium side. So just make sure you check to know what you're getting before you jump in here. Like this one gives you a CTP of insight. There is another one, I think it's the Ant-Man one, that gives you the old CTP selector. It's a couple of rages in here as well. Throwing in a type enhancement Thanos. Yes, Ant-Man and the Wasp. This one gives you a CTP, the old school CTP selector, the OG joint. So there are a lot of CTPs missing. If you get this thing, the only thing that's worth it in here is the rage, honestly. Like, why would you select anything else? If we're talking competition, if we're talking conquest, then, you know, maybe. Greed, maybe. But they don't even have judgment in it. You know what I mean? So going there, that kind of is gonna equal up to 3 rages for you. I think I wound up getting a rage out of there anyway, way back when, because it was still the best thing going. So yeah, that's kind of how you want to tackle that particular instance. Anywho, it's been a pleasure hanging out with y'all once again. Y'all like, comment, sub. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell, as it does help the algorithm. Make sure y'all sound off in the comments below. Let me know what y'all want to see next. All of that jazz. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby, have a taste. All